Hello, I'm John Peters from Hill Planning. Welcome to another planning appeal case study video. In this video, we look at a recent appeal that was submitted to the Planning Inspectorate against a decision issued by Rother District Council for a retrospective annex wooden cabin in a garden. Rother District Council refused this application on the 1st of March after originally validating it on the 21st of May the previous year. Their reasons were stated as 1. The proposed annex with the ground floor sleeping accommodation situated within a flood zone 3 is classed as a more vulnerable use by the planning in practice guidance. There was no flood risk assessment or details submitted to evaluate the risk from the development, and the proposal would be contrary to Policy EN7 of the core strategy and paragraph 171 of the National Planning Policy Framework. 2. The proposal fails to demonstrate why the annex could not be an extension to the main dwelling, failing to satisfy the sequential approach taken to annex proposals. Other options for providing annex accommodation do not appear to have been considered, and the current location forward of the building line appears as a dominant presence on the street scene. 3. The annex with no WC or wash facilities provided for the occupant does not result in adequate standards of accommodation or meet the needs for future occupiers, including providing adequate and appropriate amenities, contrary to policies OSS4 of the core strategy. The appeal statement for this case that's being shown now was produced specifically to overcome the refusal reasons issued by Rother District Council for this application. As with many of these types of refusals, the refusals are very much subjective and as such require a comprehensive and robust detailed appeal statement. Never underestimate the level of detail needed, covering policies both locally and nationally, and where possible bring other approvals and appeals into the argument. I'll explain later in more detail what and how to achieve this. The Planning Inspectorate visited the site on the 10th of August and issued a decision on the 5th of September. We're pleased to share that this appeal was successful as detailed in the Planning Inspectorate's report. If you'd like a free no obligation consultation with myself or one of our planning appeal assessment specialists, telephone 01743 369 911 or email appeals@planningappealsuk.com. This planning appeal was classed as a householder appeal and dealt with by way of written representation. What this means is the appeal has 12 weeks from the refusal date to be submitted to the Planning Inspectorate, taking the decision out of the local authority's control and to be decided by an independent planning inspector. No further information or evidence can be submitted after that date, so it is vitally imperative that the appeal statement is comprehensive, robust and with sufficient detail and argument to overcome the refusal reasons that the local authority used to refuse the application. As you saw, our planning statements are just that, comprehensive, robust, and you cannot underestimate the importance of the amount of detail in the appeal statement. It is your last chance to convince the Planning Inspectorate why your appeal should be approved. The local authority does not have the right to respond to householder appeal statements. They are reliant on the documents published and the refusal reasons stated in their decision notice. No other parties can provide additional argument at this stage either. And they are also reliant in what was submitted as part of the appeal. This prevents NIMBYs from motorising mass objections and introducing prejudicial information to the case at a late stage. We at Hill Planning have a very structured approach to appealing householder planning of refusals. This starts initially with our planning team working through the officer's delegated report. This is the report the planning officer created and used to come to the decisions to refuse the application in the first place, taking apart section by section anything negative and undermining the planning officer's thought process wherever possible. Where policies have been mentioned, we deep dive into each policy, ensuring that each policy has been represented correctly. It is often found that misrepresented policies, when used, have actually been originally produced for an alternative reasons, and in fact does not say what the officer was referring it did. This needs to be shown and demonstrated, helping undermine the credibility of the refusal. The next stage in our process is dealing with the legally binding decision notice that was issued by the local authority. Many people, when they receive a refusal notice, they attempt to re-engage with the planning officer to try and address and clarify the reasons used for refusal. Unfortunately, the local authority cannot legally change the decision once it's been issued, and the options available are simply to either reapply with a revised application taking into account the refusal reasons, or appeal to the planning inspectorate. Remember, the clock is ticking for an appeal from the date the decision was issued. So if you are minded to appeal, it is important to start the process as soon as possible. Working through the decision notice can cause some duplication, but that's okay, as it's underlining to the inspector the reasons why the application should have been approved. Also, we bring both local and national supporting policies into play, and detailed reasonings as to why the findings of the planning officer were wrong, and in fact this development is normally perfectly acceptable. Our approach for producing appeal documents that go into great detail of work throughout the refusal reasons, officers' reports and policies in detail, and to supply supporting cases where the inspectorate has granted appeals is absolutely invaluable. This gives our client, your best chance of success. Admittedly, it does take longer to produce an appeal to this level of detail and will increase the cost slightly by going into that level of detail. But it is that attention to detail that is absolutely paramount. As an organisation, Heal Planning is one of the leading appeal specialists with both dedicated in-house planning and legal teams whose job it is to win your case. Both these skill sets are invaluable to produce a robust and compelling case to gain a win. You won't find many organisations in our industry that have both these skill sets, a planning and a legal team, and is most definitely the reason why we have the success rate we do. Without appealing your planning refusal, you cannot gain the permission you are seeking. Your appeal will go to the Planning Inspectorate. They're a government-based organisation that is appointed by the Secretary of State to handle all types of planning appeals. Based out of Bristol and covering England and Wales, the Planning Inspectorate gives you a chance of success to gain that permission you are seeking and taking the decision process away from your local authority's planning officer. You'll find a host of videos about various types of planning appeals and services we offer on our website. If you'd like a free no obligation consultation with myself or a member of our team, please call us on 01743 369 911 or email appeals@planningappealsuk.com and give your appeal its best chance of success. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to speaking with you soon.